And he goes, okay, I'll take it. It would be worse if he's like humiliated and put in prison instead. I'm like, no, let me fucking stab him. I want to kill this guy.
Hey, Wyatt.
Hey, Foster.
Welcome to Game Cereal, where once a week we dip our toes into the bottom of the steam bowl and see what kind of games we can fish out. Is it going to be soggy or crunchy, sweet or salty? Did they forget the milk? Well, we're going to find out, and all at the cost of a box of cereal. How are you doing, my friend?
Pretty dang good. If I had
I've
to
been
say
better.
so. You've been better?
I've been better. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, well, you know.
Things
I don't know
happen.
why I thought, what I thought would be a funny bit? What if I killed the energy we started?
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
I did just now, and I don't know why I went in that direction.
Like, yeah,
Um,
things are going good.
yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'm not really.
I don't really want to be here.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Hopefully my audio is gonna sound good this week because I am projecting as fuck right now. I'm like basically yelling, because I'm the only one home for once, so I
Oh,
can
yeah.
be
There you go.
screaming into the mic for you. This is also you've talked about yourself enough time for you
Okay,
to me.
yeah.
This is also the first week I'm actually sitting at a desk instead of in a camping chair in my closet.
Wow. You really moved up in the
It's
world.
huge. I have moved up vastly. Back to video games. You want to guess what I have been playing the past couple days? It's not the game we reviewed. Don't guess that. Guess something else.
And not Path of Exile 2,
No, because
because
that
that
came
came
out
out today.
today.
Marvel Rivals?
No, that also no.
That's out.
Come on. I thought that came out today too. I was like, why? That worked.
No.
No, I've been playing One Cut Samurai Duel.
Oh, really?
Having a great time.
Wow.
We'll talk later in this episode. We have some like metrics. We collected some data from our reviews and our past episodes. But I think something that will come up actually right now. Let's just do this right now. If you could go back and change one review, what would it be? And I'm gonna start because I already started.
Mhm.
One Cut Samurai Duel is one that absolutely needs to be higher. I gave it a 6 and you gave it a 5. That game is easily an 8 out of 10 for me.
I think that
Um,
that might also have been my pick. Let me look at our games real quick.
if you just say a game, I can tell you the score you gave it also. I'm looking at the doc right now.
Would I give Hylix?
You gave Hylix a 7, which I think is low.
That
But
might be a little low. I think it's still probably around there for me.
yeah, I don't think it's a crime. Like, it's not bad. Still says it's a good game.
Maybe I'd lower my score for Rack and Slay.
You gave it a 4.
Yeah, maybe
Drop it lower.
I'd drop it to a 3. Something
That's
about
brutal.
that game. I think what pisses me off about that game is that I rushed the editing on that video in about 1 hour, like the day of that it came out, and it was like our highest viewed video up to that point before like War Sim and like Juice Galaxy and everything, and that pissed me off because I was like, God damn it.
So really, you're lowering your own score of yourself.
Yeah, that's kind of more. And I spent like the thumbnail was just like the logo of the game with like a Steam review pasted on top of it. It's like the laziest I've ever been, and it was like 700
People
views. I
love
was like,
it,
God
though.
damn it.
People love racks, dude.
And people love slaying. Everyone loves to slay.
Rack. Yep. Slaying racks left and right. Okay. I think we announced people know what game we reviewed, but
Yeah,
why
well,
don't
this is technically our season finale of Game
Yeah,
Cereal.
for no reason.
For no reason. Our 18th episode. I think because it's a big game. Maybe we end all of our seasons on a big game.
Yeah, I think every like maybe like once or twice a year we'll have just kind of an arbitrary season end where a AAA game comes out that we both want to play,
Yeah.
and we just choose it, and then we do that.
It'll probably
So-
be like GTA 6 or something next year.
It'll probably be GTA 6. If From Software puts out a game, that's
Yeah.
auto. I'm calling it right now. That's auto my pick. So you're gonna have to play a Souls-like game.
I'd probably buy it anyway, so it's fine.
Well, you're not very good at them, so I think you could probably
All right.
go
Well,
and review it. So.
sorry I don't use
Okay.
mimic tears.
We reviewed.
Okay.
Okay, listen, I don't want to talk about it. It's a game mechanic, Wyatt. We reviewed Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
No, listen. The gods have returned. saw them. I heard their voices.
This
Yes, we
last
did.
Couple weeks. We've been playing it a couple weeks because it's a big game. So, do you have the Steamy thing?
I
Steam
do.
thing?
Unite the Veilguard and defy the gods in Dragon Age, trademarked. The Veilguard, an immersive single-player RPG where you become the leader others believe in. It's an action RPG fantasy in the Dragon Age universe by BioWare. Published by EA. I didn't even need to look at it. I knew that one.
Yo, you're a fucking whiz, dog. You're on top of the game.
A little. I think we start. I assume this is gonna be a pretty long one. I've prepped for a longer episode than normal.
Well, yeah, you took actual notes for once, so
I did.
For once, I'm not the only one prepared for content.
I think we start spoiler free, just talking about mechanics.
Oh, really?
I think so, because I mean, if someone's clicking on this video and hasn't played the game, they're not gonna want to watch it if the first thing we do is like spoil the whole game. If they like are slightly interested in playing it.
I just have zero respect for our viewers, and I just don't
Yeah.
really care
So,
about what
I
they
think-
Why don't you go first? Tell the person who's clicked on this video who hasn't played this game and is like, I'm gonna listen to these guys talk for an hour and a half, and then they're not gonna do that because they're only listening to talk 10 minutes, and they're gonna go either buy it or not buy it.
Yeah.
That was a bad segue, but go ahead.
You know, so Dragon Age: The Veilguard. It's an action RPG. Emphasis on the action. I feel definitely, at least compared to the previous Dragon Ages. I've played all the other Dragon Ages multiple times. I think I've played all of them at least 2 times. I think I played Inquisition 3 times. I might have only played it twice. The gameplay itself, I enjoyed a lot personally. I also played on Nightmare, to be fair, so I had to use a lot more of like an actual build in my leveling up and like my skill tree and everything, and like the gear I got like a lot of the red unique gear that has a lot of cool effects that I really liked. Like for my rogue, I was a rogue in this one, a rogue Kunari crow, and I used like a dagger that it did like really low damage, but it adds like +6 stacks of bleed max that you can get. So I would just like melt. I had the rest of my armor be all like adding to afflictions, and then I had my other dagger that was also unique that gave me like permanent necrotic sword, which is like normally what you get only if you do a counter for like 2 seconds, but it just gives it to you all the time in combat. And I had for a bit I had a helmet. I guess it's like a face paint if you're a Kunari, but I had a helmet that like sends like a ghost spirit to an enemy whenever you kill one, stuff like that. A lot of weird cool stuff. I had like a flower bow that shot triples and it had like double the ammunition that it normally would. So I had a lot of fun with the gameplay. I had a lot of fun fighting bosses and doing all that stuff. Story wise, unlike you, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was amazing. I think it got better the further it went in and the higher the stakes were raised. I think up to a certain like big decision in the first act, I wasn't into it. But it's something where I'm more into it now that I've finished the game. And I think I am going to play this again at some point, and I'm interested to see how I feel about the story, knowing everything now, and like knowing the characters more now. Character wise, I think most of them were good. I think we'll get into it we're going to tier list the companions later. But there are definitely some I liked more than others, and some that were just kind of pretty bland or boring that I wasn't a big fan of. Visually, I think the game was really pretty. I think that was probably the best part of the game, honestly. I think it might be different. I don't know if you played on your Steam Deck or if you played on
No, I played on the Xbox.
on the Xbox. Yeah.
It looked nice. Yeah.
It was very pretty, especially on my computer. It was very pretty. I think all like the environments were really well done. Like the huge sprawling cities I really liked, especially when they're like you're like under siege in certain places and there's like a lot going on in the background. Like it was one of those games where I'd take a couple seconds every once in a while to just like look at the cityscape because it looked huge and there were like floating buildings and shit, which I was into. I think some of them were boring, like the place of the Antivan crows, Antiva, I guess. I think
Antifa? Yo, that's
Antifa.
crazy.
I think that one was kind of boring. It was just like a couple like buildings. But I liked like Minrathous, where it's all like floating in the air. I really liked.
Wait,
I don't know.
hold on. You liked Docktown?
I guess Docktown I didn't like as much as like uh the part I think it's in the intro where you're
Yeah.
like there's like a lot like huge floating like castles and shit.
No, I agree with that. I just wanted to double check because I was like,
Yeah.
that's crazy if you liked that area. Okay, sorry. Continue.
I don't know how much of the game you played besides of course that you finished it. I did every single quest possible and
Yeah.
like got like most of the gear in the game. I didn't like completely loot every area. Like all my areas probably say somewhere from like 80 to 95% looted. I can go find
there's a lot of chests.
shitload of chests. I did like explore every chance I got basically to go find chests. I had a lot of fun doing that, and that's just like in my blood as the way I play games is to like constantly look around corners and like try to get to chests and stuff like that. I think they reward you a good amount. I found a lot of really cool weapons and items. Like I found that dagger that stacks blood just in like a random like corner of Treviso, which is cool. Yeah, one of my favorite. I really liked all like the dwarf area. I don't know if you did Harding's companion quest, but you go
Yeah,
down into the deep roads and it was like super sick down there. That's also because I like all the dwarf stuff from like Dragon Age Origins. I remember really liking Orzammar from that game, so it was cool to get a lot of like both story stuff about that and about dwarves and that lore drop and like just the environments themselves there. Yeah, and I think like the character creator was great. I guess I the most of my other critiques and other comments are all in about the story, so I can't really get
Yeah.
into them right now. But the gameplay I had a lot of fun with. There were some fights that were absolute garbage on Nightmare, where they'd give you like 800 enemies and like it'd be super hard. It'd take me a shitload of tries, but also like there was like one fight where it's like this huge level 50 dragon that I beat at like level 35 because I was just cracked at the game at that point through like dying so much at different points. But yeah, that's basically my general thoughts on the game.
Okay, yeah, definitely positive. I mean, I can hear. I mean, you said it enough. I think I felt a lot of the same things as you, but then like I just felt a lot more negative things on top of those. I think the game is totally beautiful. I really like the art design. I think the color palette, I talk almost every episode about color palette and tone, and I think they did a really great job. Especially with the character creator being so strong and then making all of the NPCs in that character creator. Like we talked about it a little bit, but that definitely like established like this is the look for the world. So like even though like it might look a little janky, everything looks the same. So it's kind of nice. Like
I
it
saw-
makes it believable.
Not to cut it off. I saw a post on Reddit that was like, because all the like you said, all the NPCs are made in the character creator, and it was someone that just made their character look exactly like one of the NPCs, like down to a T,
so
and they were just standing next to him, and I was like, God damn it, that's
really
so funny to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I think beautiful game. Character creator was really great. You can access the character creator at any time during the playthrough, and I think that kind of leads to just like overall accessibility was really nice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Being able to tailor how you look. Transmog was great. You have the ability to like have one thing equipped for stats, but look like you're wearing a different thing, which is always a like plus, right? And then you're also able to tailor the difficulty. Like I started on Nightmare. Well, actually, I started on normal, and I was like, "This is too easy." I cranked up to Nightmare. I played that for probably like 5 to 10 hours on Nightmare.
Well, I think you
And
probably
then
cranked it up to like hard, because I don't think they let you. Nightmare's the one where you have to choose it at the start, and you can't lower it
Oh,
at any
really?
point. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I just cranked up the difficulty all the way. So it's
Yeah.
probably the same difficulty, but I was able to back out. And so I put it up all the way, and then I was like, okay, I'm not being challenged. I'm just spending way more time in battles because enemies are very bullet spongy in this game. Even on lower difficulties, I felt it. So what is nice, like I'll go back to the accessibility talk, is you're able to tailor that. So you're able to hop in. I was able to crank the enemy aggression all the way up. I was able to crank the enemy damage all the way up, and then I was able to put the enemy health down to normal.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm being challenged gameplay wise, but I'm not having to sit in a fight for like an extra 5 to 10 minutes
Mhm.
for like big combat, which was necessary because I did not find the combat all that enjoyable
Okay.
after the first maybe 20 hours, right? So like I got really like I played for 44 hours. So I got halfway through the game and I was still really and I was like that's about when I started to fall off this game.
Mhm.
And we've talked before about how I'm the type of person that I don't play a game if I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah.
Um, but I pushed through, right? And so like once I got bored and then I sat in that combat system for another 24 hours, right?
Mhm.
That's when I started to really feel like it was fairly thin, to be honest, and pretty bland. I
Mhm.
think that comes down to the rinse and repeat nature of it. I was like, I think if you took gameplay from my first couple hours of the game and set it next to gameplay from my last couple hours of the game, the only difference is some abilities look different, but they really function the same.
Mhm.
At least with the warrior class that I was playing, and everything's on fire by the end because I did a fire build. So like everything's on fire, but like really like it's the same like button. Like I'm like parrying, I'm swinging my hammer a bunch, I'm parrying, I'm doing an ability, I'm comboing an ability, I'm swinging, I'm activating a ruin, I'm swinging. Like, and it in the beginning, like I said, it's a really nice feedback loop
Were
because you're
you
activating
using
all this ability.
the companions to detonate
Yeah,
explosions? Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I interact with the game, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm a gamer, bro. I was interacting with the game. I was doing
He's a
everything it
gamer.
wanted me to do. And I just felt like I wanted there to be an evolution of how it actually felt to play. I think
Mhm.
of a game, and I was comparing this, right? Like, I mean, it's a big AAA game. This game cost over $100 million to make. Like,
Mhm.
that's a shit ton of resources poured into this game. I'm expecting a lot from a game I'm paying $70 for. So I'm comparing it to my other favorite $70 games, right?
Yeah.
Elden Ring, Sekiro, not really Sekiro, but Elden Ring, and Cyberpunk were the main ones. Elden Ring for the like combat and the bosses and enemy variety, and Cyberpunk for the story, decisions, and companion quests. Because those are two games I think do those things so well.
Mhm.
Um, and so I'm comparing this game to Elden Ring's combat, or even Cyberpunk's combat, where beginning game combat is insanely different. Like by the end, it does not feel the same. It does not look the same. You're using a whole new set of skills,
Mhm.
right? So you feel like a power creep, which is really nice. Like you actually feel like you've leveled up. Whereas in this game, I felt like I was doing the same battle over and over again.
Mhm.
Um, which was just it was just disappointing to me, right? So that was just one of the things that I would say, like, if that really matters to you in a game, I would think about that, and I would maybe watch gameplay of this game before buying it.
Mhm.
Um, and then story wise, I think I'm saying a lot. It's because I got a lot of thoughts on this. I'm trying to
He's
sort.
umming.
I'm umming, bro. I'm ummed up tonight. I'm also like buzzing off a 50 plus hour work week and like multiple energy drinks to keep me awake for this. So,
Yeah, I just had one right before we started.
I think story wise, I think it starts out super strong. I'm actually the opposite of you. Where
Really?
I found that in the beginning you were introduced because I should have said this before. I've never played a Dragon Age game before.
Yeah.
I tried to play the Inquisition and I bounced off it really quick because I was like not really into this type of game at the time. So I've never played Dragon Age. So introduction to the world, this beautiful world. You get really cool character introductions early on, in like the first couple set pieces, like the first like 3 or 4 companions you meet in pretty cool ways,
Mhm.
and they're all immediately interesting. And then you make a big choice, and it's obviously like the genesis of the whole story happens in the first couple hours,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Yeah.
it brings this grand 40-hour adventure. So I thought that was super compelling, and then you hit like this bridge, like where they like in between the first. Sorry, you can hear my phone. I just slapped the shit out of it. In between like the first big section of the game, one rising middle point, and then the last section of the game. In between all that, there's like nothing super compelling about the main story. And in true Bioware fashion, right, they fill that in with companion quests.
Mhm.
But I think that the game I wanted there to be a super strong story, right, going on. Like there's like all this stuff, like there's an active world, stuff is happening. But the companion quests, I wanted them to be so interesting that I like was pulled towards them and away from the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so it felt more meaningful when I was spending time with my companions. But instead it felt like the game was like, okay, well, we're gonna take a break from the main shit and like you can go like time to go hang out with your companions. And I was like, I felt like these, I think the strongest part of the story is the companion quests, at least some of them. I think not all are created equal, but some of them are really interesting, and I would have done them no matter how interesting the main story was. But I did not like there's literally a point in the main story, and I'm not spoiling anything, but there's a point in the main story where the game is literally like go do those.
Yeah, they say like we need the whole team to be at tip top shape, so go have them deal with their personal issues.
Yeah, literally. And I was like,
Well,
this is
the point of that is, and I don't know if this is spoiling anything per se, because it doesn't really spoil exactly what can happen, because it's all depending on your choices. But they kind of say, like, in layman's terms, hey, do the companion quest or they might die at some point.
Oh, okay, that brings me into my file, and I'll close this up because I've been going for a while. It's incredibly formulaic, and I played Bioware games before. I listen to podcasts. I'm like chronically ingesting like game reviews and news and stuff. So I hear people talk about them as well for the ones I didn't play, right? But like very clearly, it's you do companion quests so that companions don't die in the end, right?
Mhm.
And you level up factions so people don't die in the end. And this is a time where I compare it to like I guess I don't know, knowing that formula and knowing what it's asking me to do, it I think lessens the relationships I have with these characters because it's turning it into a chore. And it's like if I don't like this character, I can just not spend time with them and they'll probably get killed later. And like that's not, I don't want to see those choices ahead of time, like 20 hours away. I can picture what's going to happen. And guess what? I got to the final mission and I practically could have told you who was going to die and who was going to make it, right? And like it
Did you
takes
have?
away the
I
surprise
guess we're
factor.
getting really close to spoilers here. I was gonna ask, did you have anyone
Sorry.
die?
Yes,
How many?
because a lot.
Really?
Well, no, we do need to save that part. We need to save
Yeah,
that part. But I
okay.
think, like I said, I'll wrap this up. I think the formulaic nature, the combat that gets stale after a while, and the lackluster story are all reasons that I think that this game isn't that great. And I talk a lot when reviewing these little indie games about reviewing it for what it is. Usually, we're reviewing a game that's like one or two or like a handful of devs, a low budget, probably short turnaround compared to a game like this that's taken like years and years to make, right?
Mhm.
I think you have to sit here and review this game for what it is. It's a game that costs millions and millions and millions of dollars with a huge team of devs.
Mhm.
And with that many resources and like charging me $70, it better be a damn good game. And I don't think that this was that. So
To that point of the dev, just like, not that it affects my review of the game really at all, but there was like a shitload of development hell for this game. Like halfway through, EA, like, they were working on a game. EA told them they wanted through the new Dragon Age to be a live service multiplayer game instead.
God, of course.
So they had to completely do that. And then, like, I think it was only a couple years ago they got the green light to make it a single player game instead. So then they completely had to drop all the live service elements. And you can still see some of them like in the game. I think like the gameplay itself is a lot more indicative of a live service game than a
point.
like Dragon Age Origins kind of gameplay. I don't know if, I know you never played it, but like
I played it the first like hour or two.
yeah, things like that. Like and there's definitely a lot of like content that they just didn't get in the game because they just didn't have the time, or like it's already had been fucking 10 years since the last game.
Yeah.
So they just needed to get something out, and you can see it in the visuals too. I grew on the art style, but like when I first saw the art style of the game, I was like, this shit looks like a mobile game, man. And I was like not happy with it. But
The fuzziness of it, did
yeah,
that bother you? Like how blurry it could be, like almost
oh, it
like
didn't. It wasn't blurry for me. That might be an Xbox thing.
Might be, just a console.
A console thing, yeah.
My TV has built-in AI upscaling, so I just sharpened the shit out of it. And
There you
fine.
go. Nice, yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just a shame. I think back to while I was playing it, and I was thinking about this kind of stuff and budget and stuff like that. I was thinking about our interview with Heward Millweed. And him talking about how cool it would be if a company like EA or Sony gave $1 million to 400 devs instead of their current model, and how much more creativity you would actually get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's like a world that we don't live in and we won't live in. But I was thinking about it and I was like, man, I wish all the budget to this game went to like 50 different devs and we could have got like 10 really cool games out of it. But,
yeah, see, I don't, because I love Dragon Age. I like the world of Dragon Age, at least, I'll say.
I want to talk. We need to move to spoiler territory because I want to start name dropping characters.
Big spoiler alert from this point on. I'll
continue. Okay, go ahead. What?
why don't I give like a quick overview of the story? I guess.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So you start out. Yeah, you start out. I'll just give just for the start, I guess. You're trying to stop this guy Solus, the Dread Wolf. He was a
sick name,
ancient god who was in a 1,000-year slumber or something. Woke up during the events of the last game and then betrays you in the last game. He wants to bring down the wall, the veil between the real world and the Fade, and basically unleash a ton of like spirits and demons to bring the elves back to their former glory. And the game starts and you stop his ritual to do this, but then he gets sucked in. And he unleashes on accident 2 ancient elven gods who have been blighted. And then they're the big bads, and he's in your head now in the game. And that's kind of the driving force of the entire game.
And I think everything up until that point rocks. I think
the prologue.
It's great. I think the prologue is sick. It got me really excited for the game, and I think that excitement carried me another 15 hours until I got bored.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, now that I'm kind of like awkward now that the doors are open, I don't know what to even talk about.
I guess I'll start. Like, so what about the later part? Because like I said, I was the exact opposite, where the first up into the first big decision of the game, either you choose Minrathous to save or Treviso to save. It's right after you recruit Davrin. And if you do that, if you recruit Davrin without doing side quests in one of those cities, you get like locked out of them for the rest of the game. I don't know if you knew that.
Really?
Yeah, I had done all the side quests, so it didn't matter. But I read that like if you just go recruit Davrin like right away, you'll lose all like the Minrathous side quests that you would have had to or been able to do previously and things like that. But yeah, so you go choose to go help Minrathous, who's under attack by a big old archdemon blighted dragon, or you go help Treviso, which is under attack by a big old archdemon blighted dragon. Up until that point, I kind of could not tell you what happened in the story. Like that part's like a blur to me. It's like that's how it is with a lot of games for me, to be fair. It takes a bit for me to like start ingesting the story. But I didn't think Balara at the start was interesting. She was far too Marvel quirky for me. Like I remember it was one of the first like scenes when you get her and she's back at the lighthouse, and it has like this like whimsical Disney music going on while she's like fumbling with like a like elven artifact, and I was like, this shit's fucking stupid, man. Like stuff like that. Nev I thought was pretty boring at first.
I hated Nev.
I know. Yeah, Lucanus was kind of cool, but I don't think they did that much with his demon storyline as they could.
His accent was so cool.
Yeah, he did sound sick as hell. But they've done like Dragon Age especially. But by BioWare has done like possession storylines like really well. There's a character in Dragon Age 2 named Anders who's got like a spirit of justice in him, I'm pretty sure. And like the end of the game, I doubt you'll ever play it, but I guess spoilers for the 2007 game Dragon Age 2. At the end of the game, him and his spirit like fucking become terrorists and like drop a whole bomb on a church and like blow it up because the spirit wanted justice for mages or something. But it's like that was cool because you're like trying to talk to him the whole game and trying to sway him from like, you know, doing that or pushing him into it or whatever, and then you get the choice to like stab him or leave him or like tell him he can come back with you or whatever. But like like I think they've done the whole there's a spirit inside someone's body storyline better before. This one kind of felt like it was like tacked on last minute.
Yeah, it felt really awkward. I think like before you go on to the next companions you're probably gonna talk about, his like demon thing, like I didn't know what was going on. Like I genuinely was confused because the first time you meet him, like it's not clear that he's possessed.
See, that's fair. I think
notes you meet on the ground, and then it pans over. There's like a shot where it just like it cuts to him, and there's a fucking demon that looks exactly like him but purple, saying right next to him. And I was like, what the fuck?
Okay,
they
did kind of say it like a billion times leading up to him that he's got like a demon in him. I'm pretty sure.
I thought that was just like, yo, this guy's got the dog in him. Like,
and to be fair, the second I saw it, knew because it's like Dragon Age stuff. You know, there's like a fucking guy with a spirit in him. Like I've seen it before, so I wasn't like, what the hell's happening here? You know, I was like, oh, okay, he's got a ghost in him. I get it. I get what's happening. Yeah, Harding. I liked Harding because she was in the last game, so it was like a familiar face. He wasn't a companion, but Varric, shout out. He's a companion in the last 2 games.
Fuck Varric, bro.
Fuck Varric. What did Varric do?
Varric was dead, bro, and I hated it. I thought that was the dumbest motherfucking thing on the planet. I was so annoyed the whole game.
That he wasn't doing anything?
This guy's just laying in bed. He's not talking to anyone. I can't even like talk to him when I want to. Like he's only there for like scripted conversations. And I was so bothered the whole game, and I just thought it was a really weird design choice. And at the end they're like, he was dead the whole time. And I just thought it was such a cheap like plot. It was like nowadays it was like a 2024 M. Night Shyamalan twist. Like,
I thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was cool that Solus was using blood magic to make you see him. At first I was like, it's a little weird, but then I was like, you know what, I guess literally none of the companions talk to him the whole game, so it does make sense.
I would have preferred he was just a force ghost that kind of came and followed you around.
I guess he kind of was at the end. But
like if he was a force ghost and then it turned out that Solace was pretending to do that would have been more believable to me than what happened.
Well, I think they say like a billion times you can't trust Solus, and sure enough, at every single turn you can't trust Solus.
Yeah.
Like every single time he says he's gonna do something, he does not do it. Which was in line with last game when he betrays everyone at the end. But I did like every time I talked to him in the fade, my guy was like, I don't fucking trust you.
Like, just I didn't have that background, so I was like, you're kind of winning me over.
He got you.
I think maybe a second playthrough with the Varric stuff that might be kind of better, because I do think Varric was like overall positive on Solace.
Well, he was, because they were friends from the last game. As much of a friend that Solus can be with someone, I guess. But
when he was in your head, like it would make sense if he was like making you see Varric, if he was making Varric be positive to you. But then you see Varric at the end also, so I'm like, but I'm not.
Yeah, that's just some weird ghost. That's like Force Ghost shit right there. Like
I found it really lame. Yeah.
Outside of that, what did you? I guess Davrin was the last of those companions you get, I think, before like the last 2. Did you like Davrin?
No.
See, I fucked with Davrin, and I fucked with his Griffin.
I fucked with his Griffin, obviously. I think the problem is I liked, like, if you'd asked me earlier in the game, I liked every companion. Like every companion I met, I was like, I like all of them. I liked Balar right off the rip. I thought Harding, like, I thought she was charming. Nev in the beginning was totally badass because you like see her fighting on this bridge from like 200 yards away, and there's this giant dome of ice, and there's like explosions and stuff. So like she got a super cool intro. Davrin gets the cool intro. Like I think all of their introductions were cool. Like breaking what's his face out of prison, going to meet the necromancer guy. Like I thought all of that was strong, but then I didn't feel like I couldn't take any of them seriously as actual people, right? Like,
see, that's why I like Davrin, because I felt like he was the most grounded for the most part out of all. Like he was just some dude. He was just a guy.
I think the problem is then he's boring by comparison. So it's like this weird thing.
I think what it was for me is like, since my least favorite parts were the companions being super extra MCU quirky.
Mhm.
So I think I like that Davrin was a lot more like, hey, there's a fucking big old demon, let's kill it. And that's what my guy was too. I chose like the serious reply to like basically every conversation. Either the serious or the angry one was like my go-to. So my guy was very much also like, yeah, let's just fucking kill this guy. Like every time someone would try to make a quip at him, he'd be like, shut up, tell me the information that I need. And I was like, it's like me speaking through, because I was like, yes, please shut up.
That makes sense. I mean, I can see why that would click with you or anyone else, but for me, I just didn't do it. And I think overall that's a writing problem. I think the writing of this game is really bad, to be honest. Like I think it's weak in a lot of different ways. I think just like the moment to moment like conversations between characters isn't very good. Like you kind of mentioned like that MCU like quirkiness. That's because the MCU also has bad writing most of the time, I think. And so I think that's why you're maybe feeling that. And so it just made me not really like buy into these characters, because what they were saying didn't sound like something an actual like thinking person with emotions and intelligent thought would say.
Yeah, I agree. The dialogue was by far the worst part of this game, in my opinion.
It was rough. There were times where I was like, I was playing, Kelsey was playing also, and then she would watch me play, and there were times we were like laughing out loud at how crazy
it did start cracking me up at points.
It was like, but like that's funny, but also it's super disappointing to me. Like I wanted a good serious story. Not even serious, but like just I wanted a well-written story.
Well, see, that's why I like the second half, because I think they took themselves at least a lot, like a bit more seriously in the second half of the game compared to the first. I think like at least the dialogue got more serious too post like Minrathous and Treviso, and post the siege of Weishaupt.
I think I could have done with a lot more character drama. What was like, because yeah, you start to ramp up intensity. Like I mean, at the end, you're having conversations like, man, what if like one of us dies? Like you're having interesting conversations. Like the premise of those conversations is interesting, but the characters aren't reacting the way I kind of want them to react. Like no one's getting upset really. People aren't like beefing that hard.
So I guess I want to know which characters did you finish the companion quest for?
I finished
like who were heroes of the Veilguard for your team?
Everyone but Nev.
Everyone but Nev. Okay.
Yeah. I just didn't. I found Nev really boring. Like, and I also bad just mission design. They built her up as this detective. Ooh, we gotta have a detective.
And then she doesn't detect shit.
You go on a fucking you finally on one of her companion quests. You're like, we're gonna go like track this guy down. It's like, oh cool, it's fucking detective time.
Yeah.
You literally just went from point B to point C. No detective business. And I was like, and they introduced some weird character who's like possessing someone in Dogtown, and Dogtown's already the most boring area in the game.
Yeah.
And so I was so fed up. So I didn't complete hers. I completed everyone else's. I liked them to various degrees.
I'm assuming you saved Treviso instead of Dogtown.
Oh yeah, I was so happy when I saw I could burn Dogtown to the ground.
Okay.
I was like, hell yeah, let's fuck these guys up.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Dude,
after
Viper? Was his name Viper? What a loser, dog. What a like, he was like in middle school who was like really into parkour. It was embarrassing.
Oh man, yeah, that's pretty funny. He was getting his ass whooped. You save him like 3 times in the story, and every time he's like, "Thanks, Rook."
It's so tough. He got iced in mine.
Oh really?
Yeah, he fucking died. Well, because
Oh, you didn't finish your quest.
I finished most people's. Like I said, I finished everyone's quest, so I thought I was gonna have a better outcome in the end with like characters not.
Well, you must have chose bad people to go for certain positions.
Well, this is the problem: is I didn't upgrade any of my, like I didn't upgrade the factions enough.
Oh, so you didn't
realize it was going to be a problem.
They also say that a good few times.
No, they say it at the end, but by the end I was like, even if they said it early, I would have just not done it because I found the game boring. So I didn't want to boring is such a strong word, but by the end, like by the latter half, I was bored. So that is how
Yeah.
I felt, and I was like, I'm not maxing out these goddamn factions. And so I get to the end, and every faction is weak, and so they're supposed to be protecting my characters, and they're just doing a terrible job.
Yeah.
So people are dying left and right.
Yeah, I had all of mine were completely maxed out. The factions, because I did, like I said, I did all the side quests, and then like I think the one group I didn't have maxed out towards the end, I just gave them all of my, like, I sold everything to them to get like a plus 600 to their bonus. So, and you were what was your build? What like?
Yeah, combat. So I was a warrior. I went with the Grey Warden build. I started with the Necromancer stuff. Didn't feel like it was hitting as hard as I wanted it to. And so I switched to the Grey Warden build, which was just like all about like charged, like big heavy attacks, which was just more satisfying. And then like I said, I did all flame stuff. So like all my gear was geared towards fire damage.
Yeah.
And I had a sword. And I had all. I mean, I did enough to be like leveled by the end. So like I had all red gear as well, like all uniques.
Yeah.
My sword had this nice thing where it made electric damage also gain the buffs of my fire damage.
Okay.
So my sword would be on fire, but I was dealing electric and fire damage, and both of them were buffed by all my fire damage perks. And so that was like that was my build. It was sword and board though. Like nothing really exciting happened. I blocked and I swung a sword. And I found the hammer really, really weak. The way the warrior class works is you have the sword and shield, and then you can switch to a hammer. One thing I didn't like is that both had a shield throw, even though you had just the hammer. You would charge up just a circular disc on your wrist and throw it.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, every single time I'd go to hit that button, my like mind would like yearn for throwing my hammer. Like, why can I not just yeet my hammer? It would be so much cooler if it did like more damage and you were defenseless while you were throwing it. That would have been just more interesting and cooler instead of just charging up a little gold disc on your bare wrist.
Yeah.
So I found the hammer really weak for most of the game until I got one of the legendary ones at the end, and then I got a couple like rings and shit that I could wear that made my like hammer do a bunch more damage. And I switched to that for the last like I don't know third of the game. So.
Yeah, I like the rogue. I did the I think the duelist is what it was called. Was my specialization, and I got up to level 50, so I basically maxed out like 3 whole sections of my tree. In terms of like the stat wise, but it was a lot of fun like whipping around. I'd like go in, get like 7 stacks of bleeding on someone, pop out, do like my triple shot bow to the head and like melt someone else, and then by the time I'd spend all my arrows, that person I hit with bleeding was down, and I'd have like 6 abilities charged and just start spamming them. And then I like the combination of the abilities that I chose, at least for the rogue to use in the combat. I think it's the strongest when you have a mix of each of the classes as your companions, because you can do the most amount of detonations. This is definitely more of like a nightmare thing where the enemies have a shitload of health and do a buttload of damage too.
But I mean the concept still prevails of you want as many detonations as you can possibly get, because those are your big damage.
Because only towards the end I was like I basically just took who I wanted at the end, and I didn't care about the classes because I was strong enough at that point. But like for like some of like the like side bosses I had to fight, it was like they were tough, long fights, but it was like it felt rewarding, I guess, by the end. But I did definitely like there towards the end. I will agree, like the last like couple acts, like I just wanted to get through the mini combats to get to the boss fights to finish the story. That's how I feel most games.
I started running through them. You can skip most of those. You just run right through. And I just started skipping whole combat.
I'd skip
combat sections.
If I was like running through to get to a side quest or something, I'd skip all like the fights that would be there. But like
now imagine it's the final mission, and I probably skipped like in terms of time like maybe 50% of that mission because I just skipped combat.
Running through, yeah. I mean, I definitely agree that like towards the end I was like just get me through the combat. I want to finish the story. But that's I'm not holding that too far against it, because that's how I feel. I think every game I've ever played, like
Yeah.
because I play so much of the side content in these games, by the time I get to the end, I'm like, I don't give a shit. I just want to like finish the story.
Yeah. I think we talked a lot about story. What are you told me to do this, so I have mine. Let's do like top 2 high moments and bottom 2 low moments of the story.
I think let me see, I wrote down my thoughts on the story here. My top 2 moments, I'd say these are definitely going to be more like ones that I think I would like a lot more than you, because they are more like Dragon Age lore that I was like, oh shit, that's awesome. I think like the revelation that Solus in the Ancient Elves like took the blood from Titans and like turned them into dwarves basically, and used that as like their magic to become mortal was like really cool in my opinion.
That was lost on me. As like a non-Dragon Age person, like they were explaining it, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I was like, damn, that's crazy. That they just like basically killed a whole race of like dreams and like magic just to become like mortal, and then like basically killed that whole race, went to war with them after because they were upset at that, understandably. I liked that a lot. And then I'd say like the ending itself I actually liked, like with Solus's part at the end, like that whole thing with Morgan being mythal I thought was really cool.
I don't know what that means.
Again, yeah, that doesn't matter. I don't even know if you did the quest to get that revealed or not. But like you get like if you clear like all like the sources of blight on the other islands or something, you can come back, and if you get all like the Solus memory statues and you go through all those scenes, Morgan, who was a companion in the first game, comes down and she's like, yeah, I got like the essence of mythal in me. She got that dog in her. And then you go fight like a big ass dragon, and you also get the essence of mythal because you go talk to her, the actual mythal, like a fragment of her soul at a different place, and you have to convince her to help you. And only by doing that you can convince Solus at the end to change his ways and not open the veil as the alternative to like, you know, stabbing him or tricking him. Yeah. You tell him like, hey, do this, and then my Inquisitor, who romanced him in the other game, went with him into the veil at the end, or into the Fade. Which was really cool. That's why that part I was like, that's awesome, because it was like she has a conversation with you like earlier where she's like, do you like Solus? And I was like, fuck no, because my guy didn't. And then she was like, I feel like I can fix him, and I was like, you go, girl, you fix him. You got it. So then she had like the okay to go, and at the end she popped up and he was like, oh, my love, I'm so sorry, I've done so many awful things. And she was like, I know, but I'll be there with you. And then they go into the veil at the end. But that, and I think fucking Davrin dying, I don't know who you chose to die at the end.
That's my low point, is Davrin dying, actually.
Really?
But continue. Go ahead and I'll tell you what happened to him in my story, yeah.
I was like, because like I said, we were homies in that, and like every single time I chose the response that was like, hey, no matter what, even if one of us die, we gotta do it. And then at the end, he was like, I guess I gotta do it. And then his fucking griffin flying in after him to die, I was like, oh, man.
You're crazy. You're so crazy. No.
I guess I need to say my low points.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Low points, I think it's just in general, like some of the dialogue. I know we went over it, but like there were like certain scenes, like actually no, one of my low points was the fucking crows, because my guy was a crow. I thought that whole crow storyline was so stupid and boring. I don't know if you can finish it if you're not a crow, like the crow side quest. But it's like there's this obviously evil, like fucking president of Treviso or whatever, that bald dude with the big old mustache.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, you know, talking to the crows, and he's like, oh, I am so evil, and I don't like you crows. And then they're like, oh, he's all right, he's harmless. And I'm like, okay, so like the actual traitor is gonna be someone else. And then at the end, they're like, it's revealed that, oh no, he was actually the traitor. And all the crows are like, how could we not see it? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? He was sitting there constantly saying shit that's like not good. And you guys are like, what? It was him? And then they're like, it was like right towards the end of the game, and they were like, don't worry, Rook, we're gonna figure out some information and we'll get back to you. You go do your stuff. And I go back to the lighthouse, and then I get a notification from fucking Lucanus, and I walk over to him, and he's like, hey, they figured stuff out about him. Let's head over there. I was like, literally 5 minutes later, he's like starting his big plan. I go in there, I bring Lucanus, the new first Talon of the Crows. He does not say a single fucking word in the entire quest when you go and take down the guy who betrayed the Crows. Not a single, he gets one approval when you kill him at the end. I take him down at the end. I'm going, all right, let me fucking kill this dude at least. Some kid comes by and goes, no, we're gonna arrest him. And the only options I have to say are, yeah, you know what? You can choose what to do with this guy, kid, that I don't remember from the rest of the game, because you're a crow. Why don't you take the contract? And he goes, okay, I'll take it. It would be worse if he's like humiliated and put in prison instead. I'm like, no, let me fucking stab him. I want to kill this guy. I'm a crow. I'm an assassin. I thought that part was like the dumbest fucking thing in the whole game.
That's super whack. I didn't get. Can I real quick say what happened to me in that situation?
Yeah.
Mine, I didn't get that final quest where I like confronted him, and the game basically ended on this like it went in and it was like, and he continues to battle with the crows, and I'm like, yeah, guys, you're a group of assassins.
You can fucking
And
assassinate him.
There's this normal middle-aged bald man who's tormenting you. You just kill him. I was like, this is so stupid. What a bunch of useless motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So same annoyance, I guess. Different way it played out.
I think that was like my lowest quest point. I'm trying to think. I know there were. I wish I like put them down, because there were like a lot of times when it was like cutscenes of dialogue, and I'm like, man, this is the cringiest shit I've ever had to sit through. I think the whole of the pirate people were pretty boring and forgettable.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I think they were definitely an afterthought. Like, you could tell when like the only way to get approval from them was just like killing dragons.
It like I DM, right, like in Dungeons and Dragons, like I DM for a group, and one of the main things they're like, don't make a character's main ambition money, because it's boring.
Yeah.
And that was their whole thing, was treasure.
It's money.
boring.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not compelling to have a bunch of characters that are like, we want glory. It's like, okay, boring. Next, please. Okay, is that your low though?
Yeah, I think
like
those
one note.
just pretty. Yeah, like a one note faction. I think my low is just like the rest of the parts of the game I really didn't like that much.
The low is all the other lows.
My low is all the other lows combined. But my biggest low was that one fucking quest for the crows, and like just like the crow stuff in general. I think I wish I'd went. If I could redo like my character, I'd do like a elf Grey Warden mage, because I think I'd get the most unique dialogue out of that through the whole game, as opposed to like a Kunari rogue crow. I think like the only unique dialogue I got was like every once in a while my guy would be like, oh, I personally put poisons on my knives when I stab someone, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
that's boring. The Morn Watch was cool. I got some cool dialogue being a necromancer.
Yeah, well, I really liked all the Mornwatch stuff, and I really liked Emmerich. I think Emmerich was like I think my favorite out of all the companions.
Spoilers.
Sorry.
Oh. I'm ready for mine.
Okay, yeah. What's your
These were very good.
top two?
I'm gonna start with my bottom, so I can end on a high note, because
Okay.
I know I don't like this game. Like, I definitively don't like this game. But I know a lot of people will, so I want to end on a high note with that.
Yeah.
Low moments: death of companions at the end.
Yeah.
So I had Davern die. I think sacrificing himself to kill Gillinane.
Yes.
Right.
Or Elgon. I confused their name.
No, it was
Was it Gillinane?
Okay.
Okay.
Elgon was the guy.
Okay.
Sacrifice to kill Gillinane. I truly believe that's what happened. I was like, it's pretty good, I guess. Like, as he went, I was like, okay, that's fine. What I really didn't like about it, and I'm gonna lay like the low is the death of multiple companions and how they died.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something I felt wrong with each of them. Davrin sacrificing himself, I thought was pretty cool. Um, I didn't feel like it was. Once again, it comes back to the writing. I felt like the writing in that moment didn't like stick the landing on how intense this was. But I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. He sacrificed himself, and the griffin just kills itself.
I
And I
think
was
the
like,
Griffin
that's
goes to
pretty
save him.
no, but they die.
Oh,
So
they
the
do. I
griffin just
know.
kills him.
Yeah, it's awful.
He gets like obviously murdered. He falls in this like pool of like blight, and then the griffin just kills itself. And I was like, that's
I didn't get
okay.
that at all from that scene. But yeah, I mean, continue. Yeah.
I mean, literally, I will just describe the facts of what happens. He sacrifices himself. Lucanus is able to kill Gillenade.
Mm-hmm.
He gets stabbed a bunch by blight tubes. He gets dropped into a pool of blight. He falls in. The griffin screeches and dives in after him and is never seen from again.
Yeah. He's loyal
The
to the
griffin
end.
killed it. Stupid. So I was like, I thought it was really lame. I was like, okay, sure, yeah, okay. It's because the griffin was tied to his moveset, and we can't have the griffin without him. So that's what happened there. And then I felt that Emmerich died in the heat of battle. He got crushed by rubble in a way where I was like, it was just disappointing because I leveled all these people up to be like heroes of the Veilguard, and then like Emmerich died in a really lame way where it's just a big battle, and I look back, and like he's not there, and there's a bunch of rubble on the ground, and like his staff is on the ground.
Did
I was
you
like, oh.
did you send him to take out the big guy?
Yeah, dude. I was like,
Okay, well that's your issue.
No, because he was a goddamn lich.
The thing says, this thing says. Oh, I guess yours was. Wait, yours was a.
No.
Oh, he was a lich. I see.
I turned him
You
into a
killed
lich, and I was
Manfred?
like, bro, I killed Manfred. Fuck
No!
Manfred. This is this man's life dream to become a lich. I was like, hell yeah, live your truth, bro. And he's a goddamn lich, so he's like one of the most powerful magical beings around, and he gets crushed by a rock.
Well, maybe you should have
I was
sent
like,
Tosh to take out the big ass monster.
No, because Tosh was with me till the end because I liked
Oh.
Tosh.
I like Tosh
had
too.
me and Tosh were tight. They were cool. Okay, so Tosh could not go off and risk being murdered. Right, I had to send. But once again, lich, and just the bummer way. Like I was like, okay, crushed by rubble. Like that's tough. And then Nev, there was a decision where you could either send Nev or Balara to unlock the door, and they're like, "Ooh, it's really dangerous because if you overload it with magic, it's gonna rebound back on you,
Yeah.
and it could kill you." And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna send Nev so she gets overloaded with magic and dies." Because I was like, I don't like Nev, and I'm not gonna risk Balara. So I'm gonna send Nev over there, who's not a Veil champion, right? A member of the Veilguard or whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought for sure she was gonna get zapped by this magic. No, she unlocks the door, and then tendrils come out of the wall and grab her, completely unrelated to what was happening.
I thought it was related.
No,
Oh, I thought they said it was.
their whole thing was that the magic was like it could rebound back on her and like hurt her. So everyone stand back, and then Blight just grabs her from the wall, and then everyone acts like it's your fault for asking her to unlock the door, and they like fucking gaslight you. And I was like, what the? And once again, it's a writing problem. Like someone wrote that, and then someone animated and did all that, right?
Mhm.
So like, it's a writing issue once again. So that's one of my lows. The other low, the romancing of Balara. I really liked Balara in the beginning. I thought she was funny enough. She was like quirky. She was nice. I was like, okay, cool. I liked her, right? Whatever. The lamest romance, dude. We were dating before we even kissed.
Yeah, I think all the romances were pretty lame.
Like so lame. Like we it was like third graders like dating and romancing each other, and it was just super cringy.
The fucked up part, BioWare before the game came out were like, this game gets real steamy. And it was like, you get like one kiss and a fade to black, and then they wake up. Even if you turn nudity on, they wake up in their underwear, no matter what. No matter what. There's no like, I don't know why they had a nudity thing to begin with when you can't see anyone naked ever.
Yes. So okay, yeah, same thing. We kissed once, and we faded to black.
Yeah.
And that was the only time in the whole game we kissed.
Mhm.
And the whole time in the whole game we even touched each other. Like not even like a friendly pat on the shoulder. And it was just so unbelievable. And it makes me think of games like Baldur's Gate, or Baldur's Gate is just super horny. But
Yeah.
more specifically like Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk is also super horny.
super corny, but I didn't even romance anyone in Cyberpunk, but I became very close friends with the characters in Cyberpunk,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt so attached to them, like as full on human beings. I like almost was like crying when they like died or like they left me or whatever. And I just felt none of that. And I was like, if I should have felt any of that here, it should have been with the character I romanced and
Yeah.
spent the most time. I'm not asking for sex scenes. I'm asking for chemistry between characters. It's a totally different thing. Like
Yeah.
I would have been fine with a kiss and a fade to black if there was actual chemistry between us. But it felt like I was romancing a 6-year-old, and I hated it. It was
Yeah.
gross.
That's
and weird.
Valara.
Listen, I think it, but like, it's just so disappointing. Anyway, those are my lows. I want to talk about my highs.
Okay.
Because there were some high moments. The assault on Weishaupt, I really liked.
Yeah,
I
it was
liked
pretty
that
cool.
mission. I thought punching the head commandant or whatever the fuck he was called,
The first
um,
warden.
first warden, like decking the first warden, like taking over as the leader,
Mm-hmm.
and you get the cool boss fight where like you fight the dragon and the dragon dies and it evolves into this new demon
Yeah.
with the tentacles. Like that was cool, and then you fail, and then your team fails at the end, and
Yeah.
you have to deal with the repercussions of that. And that was at like the midpoint of the game, and that was like the high of the entire game in my opinion. And after that is when it started to go downhill for me, because right after that mission is when you sit around a table and everyone's like, oh man, we just got a lot on our plate right now, like I can't really be committed to saving the world because like
It's like my mom and
my
my
mom,
brother have to
doesn't
die,
really like me. Like, oh man, my brother died like 10 years
and
ago,
now
so
he's got
like
to
I'm
die
not really.
again. And
Oh man, and so like that was the high for me. That was the coolest mission in the game. I think it escalated well, in terms of like stakes, like because you're going up to fight Gillenane, and just like movement throughout the castle. Like moving up the castle is always fun, right? Like you start at the bottom,
mm-hmm.
you work your way physically up the castle to the peak of the story and the peak of the tension, and you're on top of this big castle now, this big siege, and you fucking kill the dragon with this big trap, and like Davern's trying to sacrifice himself, but the head warden wakes up and he's like, I'll do it, it's my job. And like that's all very, very cool. That was a really cool mission.
Mm-hmm.
I was really like stoked on that.
Then his ass just gets like knocked away.
And then his ass just gets knocked away, and I was like, okay, well,
He does come
that's-
back later as a big old demon, which is pretty cool.
as a yeah. Yeah.
It might have
Big
been
old
a side
demon. I mean,
quest.
he was just a body in a tendril of junk.
Oh, he was. I was
stabbed him.
thinking of that's my bad. There's a if when you get the mayor in that one village, like the first village that's covered in the blight, and it's like
Mhm.
everyone's dead everywhere, and you find the mayor. If you leave him, he comes back later as like a blighted demon, and he's like, "You fucking left me." And then I'm like, "Yeah, I know, bitch."
I don't even remember that.
It was part of the
probably
side
happened,
quest, I think.
or it happened, and it was at the point where I was kind of
Tuned out, yeah.
of most of the stuff that wasn't main story stuff. My other highlight, if I had to choose like an actual thing that happened in the story, I would say saving Treviso over Docktown. It's
Mhm.
just always fun to make a decision that actually impacts the world.
Yeah, I do
Right.
think it was cool that like you could feel that throughout the whole game. Like that
No.
Minrathis was
sorry,
fucked up.
that decision.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying like you were making decisions like that all the time.
No, there are only a
You were.
couple big ones. For the
But
most
yeah,
part,
that
it
one
was
was
just
cool.
yeah.
You have to live with it. Yeah. I want to go back and talk about a negative again.
And too bad much for ending on a high.
Too bad, Brandon and I. I want to know what I'm gonna say what I think, and I'm really interested in what you think.
Uh huh.
The format of the companion quests. You do the companion quest, you get to the end, you make a big decision that changes kind of that companion's life, right? In a
Mhm.
significant way. Balara, it's choosing whether or not to keep or get rid of the
Elven
what's it
history.
called? The Elven history. Emmerich, you're either going to save Manfred or he becomes a lich.
Mhm.
Whatever. They each have one. I really did not like it in the sense that like, and then once again, it's a writing problem, but you get to the end of their mission, of their quest line,
Mhm.
and then all of them are like, basically, this is the way it felt to me. Oh, Rook, I don't really have an opinion on what's going to happen, and I'm not really an adult, so I can't really make my own decisions. So can you tell me what to do? Like every time. And
Yeah.
it wasn't like I would have been And it's so funny because I was thinking about it to myself. I was like, man, am I upset that I chose what happened to them? Not really, in the sense that like that's how video games work. Like you make a choice and it affects other people.
Yeah.
I was just really annoyed in the way it was presented, where it was literally like, I don't know, Rook, what should I do?
Yeah,
And
fair
then you
enough.
just tell them what to do instead of like having an actual conversation with them and like convincing them to do something.
I think
Right?
I
Like
think
it
there were
felt
definitely a couple. I remember like verbatim. I think it was Davrin on his with the Griffins was like, I'm too attached to the warden, so I don't know what to do, but I trust you, Rook. And then he has
so
you do it.
dumb.
I think they did it good with Hardings. She doesn't like ask you. She's just like losing
Yeah,
control, and you
Hardings
have to
was-
go
Hardings
walk up to her and be like, embrace the anger, join the dark side, or whatever.
Yeah. I think Hardings was by far the best ending, or at least the best choice made. Hers and Emmerich's. Although even Emmerich's, I was like, bro, can you make this choice, please? Like,
Yeah.
why
Emmerich's I
am
kind
I
of get.
telling
He
you what
couldn't
to
trust himself, I guess, to not just choose Lichdom.
do? Okay.
I also
okay,
just like
mister.
Emmerich,
You
but
drank the Kool-Aid.
I just
Because
like
the
Emmerich.
direct line is, I don't trust myself to make the decision. It's like the same as Davrin's of like, I'm too
I
close
don't know if
to
that was
this.
his direct line, to be fair. I don't remember his
It
line
was
on that.
direct line. So basically the same thing. Anyway, that bothered me a lot.
Interesting, yeah.
Man, I didn't like this game very much, Wyatt.
It's crazy because I did.
I'm happy that we're disagreeing though.
Yeah.
It makes for a way more fun
I'm
conversation.
100% gonna title this that we argue about Dragon
Oh,
Age.
yeah. People need to know that we're not on the same page.
Yeah. Oh, what do you think about the villains? We haven't really talked about them. They weren't crazy like memorable. I think the Gilnane and fucking Elganon.
Well, dumb names for one. So there's that. But
I think it was
I
kind
thought-
of stupid. Sorry, I immediately asked you a question and then
Oh,
cut it off.
please. Oh, I
I
don't
think
care. I'm
it's
not-
kind of dumb that in the other Dragon Age games, they're both like the elven gods that people worship. Like they're like the ones that the elves worship. And the second they come back as demons, there's not a single elf in the game that's like, well, wait a minute, there are gods. Shouldn't we be like with them? Like in a split second, every
Mhm.
elf that you meet, at least, maybe there's others outside of a game, but you can't really bank on that. Like every elf you meet, it's like, yeah, we got to kill them. They're
really
both evil gods. It's like, well, wait a minute. Someone should be like, hey, these are our gods.
You get a little bit of it with Balara and some of the Veil Jumpers being like, well, it is kind of weird that we're fighting our gods. But that's at the extent of it. Like,
Yeah, they
just are
don't
kinda
even like they don't
yeah,
even like say like maybe we should hear out our gods or like trust
you
in
would
in what we've been trained to like for generations. But instead they're just like, oh, I guess it sucks that we have to kill them, but that's all we can do.
totally comes back to writing. Because if you think of it in like a real world, right? I mean, real world, fantasy world. If the gods came back, you would have had a large portion of the population be like all in on them, right?
Yeah.
Like you would have had religious fanatics, just like you do in real life, who were like totally in on it. And yeah, you missed out on it. And it's very funny to think that everyone's like, well,
Instead it's all
like
Kunari.
imagine if Jesus Christ showed up tomorrow and just started stabbing people. Do you know how many people would be like, they deserved it?
Yeah, he's getting rid of the sinners.
Yeah, literally. But no, it's funny. I thought that too. I'm happy you brought it up.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very positive about the game. I think it's very flawed. I just really enjoyed it, like playing it and going through the story and getting what I wanted out of the story, I guess. Like I think there were definitely a lot of flaws, but just personally, I had a lot of fun, and the parts I liked, like Solus, I think is still like a really well written character, and I think like that carried from the last game too. I think he's written smart, and he's written like not like he's a 30-year-old millennial, but like he's a 600-year-old elf instead. That's been like an elven god. He's not like, saying weird shit. He's like, oh yes, Rook, you must do this, and then stabs you in the back or whatever.
I think I just wish I liked it more. If I, like I said before, if I had quit like 20 hours in, I would have been talking about this game differently.
Yeah. Who knows, if you finish
right?
Ghost of Tsushima, you might be like, man, that game's not that good.
I was thinking that too, but I will say Ghost of Tsushima's writing is far better than this.
Hey, if it wasn't good
Hands
enough to get
down.
you to finish.
With a bullet. Well, that's just because I just don't. I mean, I don't love the open world formula of like Ubisoft games, and this kind of toes that line, right? Like
It's really close. Like it's much more like a It reminds me of like God of War Ragnarok in a lot of ways, but like in that way. And actually, a lot of ways, it reminds me of God of War Ragnarok, with like the dialogue being a bit too like bubbly, I think, for the tone of the game, and like a lot of the characters all just being the nicest people in the world. That happened in Ragnarok too, as opposed to like God of War 2018 or something that I didn't really like that much.
I didn't like Ragnarok's. I remember that. I only played a couple hours of it,
Mhm.
but I remember being like, why is it weird? Like everyone's like in a good mood, and like,
Yeah.
we're like joking around and having a good time.
Yeah, there were great
Cut it out.
moments. I still like the game, but like compared to like, I wish some games would just take themselves a bit more seriously, which is again why I liked the second half of this more than the first, because they did not take shit seriously in the first half, like at all. Anyway, I think I'm good to go talk about our little tier list here if you want to.
I think we review. I think we drop a score on it.
Oh
and then
yeah,
we
shit, we
pick
should
around.
probably do that first. Yeah. Why don't you start?
Yeah, me with the low score. I give it a
So we can
2 out of. No,
End on a positive.
I'm kidding. Yeah, we can end
Yeah,
on a
1 out of
positive.
10. 0.5 out of 10.
1 out of 10. This is a really difficult one for me, to be honest, because I see why people like you filthy, disgusting people, like this game. I think if it's offering what it's offering, and if you like that, you'll like this game. But me being me, and the way I looked at it, and the way I'm criticizing this, looking at things like the combat and the skill progression and the writing, those are all things that matter a lot to me. And because it fell, like it tripped over those obstacles, stumbled, this is a bad analogy, but because of those reasons, I would give this game a 6 out of 10. A 6 solaces out of 10 solaces.
6 eggs, 6 Eggmen.
6 Eggmen.
Yeah,
is
he
an
looks like an
Eggman.
egg. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 Eggman out
I
of
think
10
it's funny
Eggman.
that they made him bald, or he made himself bald when he came back. He said, "Fuck my long locks I got.
I will
I'm going
say, he looks
bald."
fucking dumb with long hair.
He does, yeah. It was a good
Way better
decision.
bald.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the right.
He should have grown like a mustache or something though. That'd be awesome.
I don't think elves can grow facial hair.
No, that's
I
right.
think
I don't think they
canonically
can. Yeah.
elves grow facial hair, so.
Anyway,
don't even
6,
need that
honestly,
much.
higher than I thought. I was expecting like a 4 or something from you.
Well, it's very hard because I think I feel like the way I feel about this game, it's like a 3, to be honest. But
Mhm.
I want to review it as a reviewer and not just like my personal feelings. And
Yeah.
there is a game here with a lot that is doing what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
It is beautiful to look at, and there is enough here that I think it's a 6. Like it's just better than super mid, right? Like
Yeah.
I did play it. There's a world where if this game was truly a 3 out of 10 game, I would not have beaten it. Like I would have just stopped.
Yeah, that's
Right.
fair. Even for the serial.
Even for the review, like if this game was an actual bad game, I would not have played it all the way
Yeah.
through. So. Anyway,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
6 solaces out of 10.
6 solaces out of 10. Yeah, my thoughts, as I said, I think it's good. I think it is a good game. I think I like it more than it actually is as a game, due to my homerism of, of Dragon Age. And I definitely like I said, there are a lot of faults, and it is not like a perfect game by any means. But for me, I'm gonna give this game 8 lyrium daggers
Wow.
out of 10. I think it's
But
the
now are
most,
these
for me, the most
lyrium
like,
or the red lyrium daggers?
what'd you say?
So are these the green lyrium or the red lyrium daggers?
The blue
Very
one.
cool. Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like, if I could think of a game, like a AAA game that's an 8 out of 10, this is that. Like the most, like, for me, just like 8 out of 10. Like just good game. Some parts I really like, some parts I don't. The rest of the parts are just okay.
I would argue that a good game is like a 7 though, and an 8 is like a great game.
Yeah, but I think I like it more than a 7. I don't think I want to replay it, and I don't think I'd replay a game that's a 7 out of 10.
Fair. The same way I had to up my score because
I had it. I was gonna go in and get an 8.5.
Okay, that's what I was gonna wonder. It's because like you just love Dragon Age, so you're also
Yeah.
very biased in the other
But
direction.
it's hard to not like to. as like playing the story and like parts of the story that I like are a lot of like the lore of Dragon Age. I can't take that out of my review and be like, well, I really liked when they went deep on the dwarves, but I only liked when they
Yeah.
went deep on the dwarves because I liked the dwarves, you know?
And I don't think you should.
Yeah.
You said what a 7 out of 10?
I said 8 out of 10.
I thought you said 7.
No.
And
You
then I
said
thought
7.
You changed it to an 8.
No, I said
I
8
said
out of 10.
6.
I don't know.
What the
You,
fuck?
I said 8 out of 10, and you
Roll the
went.
tape back. Roll the tape
No,
back.
no. I said 8 out of 10, and then you said that I should give it a 7 out of 10, and then now you're saying that I was gonna give it a 7 out
I
of 10.
thought you gave it a 7, and then I was like, "Are you sure?" Wow. The fade has been torn open.
The fade
Torn
has been.
asunder. God damn. Okay, that's crazy. I think you're gonna be surprised. I bet we actually have very similar lists.
Probably.
Like-
Well, let's just
like-
go down the list.
Except
then, yeah.
Davern. Okay, Balara first.
Balara first.
I would put Balara in C tier.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I like it. Unlike you, I think she becomes a better character as it goes on. Because she gets a bit more serious.
I think if I wasn't romancing her,
Yeah.
she would have stayed the same. She would have been an A for me overall, except because the romance was so bad, it made me sour on her super hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she dropped pretty low after that. Yeah, C tier.
C tier. Okay. Davrin, what would you put him at? And then I'll say what I put him at, and we can just like split the difference. I think.
I'd put him at D tier.
I'd put him at A.
Sure. Okay. I
So-
would argue for a C tier as well with him.
I don't think
think-
he deserves to be in the same tier as Balara.
Uh,
Do you want to fight for your spot here?
I think when I think of him, I do think of him on the same tier as Balara is the thing. Like, I think that neither of them were all that interesting. I think that her companion quests made her a more interesting character because you got depth of personality
Uh-huh.
on how she's dealing with her brother and the trauma of the past and those sorts of themes.
Yeah.
Davrin is like, man, I don't really get along with this eagle, but shit, I gotta save them all. And then by the end, he's like, man, I'm happy we saved them all. We gotta save them all.
Yeah.
And I didn't find that like all that exciting. I just thought he was pretty bland. Like, he was just kind of the generic warrior of the group. So
He definitely was the generic warrior. I will give you that. And his storyline was entirely around being a dad to this fucking bird that dies.
it was a Kratos Atreus relationship, but done poorly, I think.
Yeah, I think his voice carried him for me a bit. He sounds cool as hell.
It was a good voice actor.
Yeah,
like
I
I
think-
did like how he sounded.
They were like I'm trying Nev, I did not like her voice actress. I don't think she did a very good job. But like for the most part, I think all the companions had pretty good voices. I didn't like Tasha's all that much either, but
Tasha's grew on me.
yeah, but I think Davrin, I'm trying to remember. I think he's like a famous voice actor. I don't know. He just kind of sounds like he's been in like a billion games. You know what I mean?
He sounded powerful. Kelsey immediately was like, I'm gonna romance him. Like,
You know
okay.
whose voice I really liked? The fucking Strife, that old elf.
Yeah, I fucked with that guy.
Yeah, that guy was
I wish
awesome.
I got more of that guy.
Did he fuck
I
Emmerich?
give him the preference.
Did he fuck Emmerich in your game?
He fucked Emmerich in your game?
Yeah, they like started dating.
That's awesome. No,
Yeah.
that did not happen.
Emmerich asked me for advice on where to take him, and I told him. And
That's
he
wonderful.
popped up, yeah. Anyway, well, I'll humor you. I'll put him at C. I'll put him at high C.
Put him above Balar though.
Yeah,
I guess high C. Emmerich, okay. You first.
S tier.
S tier.
I think he's the best companion. I think he's the
That is
best
really
written
great.
companion in the game.
I think not only is he the best written companion, but also his quest is one of the most interesting quests.
His quest is super cool. I think he feels like he could fit the most in with like the Baldur's Gate companions in like the
Yes.
weirdest way, where it's like I think it's really cool to have a necromancer companion whose whole thing is that he's afraid of like mortality and dying. Like it's a
and,
really
like,
unique take that I've never seen in like any media. And I think it's really cool
I love
that,
that
yeah.
take. And being in like, and just the contrast of that, and then also him being in like the grimmest, darkest setting, but being by far the most like empathetic and like
Mhm.
loving person.
Yeah.
Like he's like a vegetarian. I was like, all of that stuff comes together really nicely with him.
Mhm.
So S tier.
And yeah, I chose to revive Manfred at the end because I feel like it fits him more than becoming a lich to like give up that and still have that fear, and then like just to revive this weird little fucking skeleton guy that you can play rock paper scissors with.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, I was frustrated. Like I told you, that was kind of the way it was prompted to me. And me being me, I was like, bro, it's been your life's work. And this is just a little guy who can't even talk very well. So
Yeah, but he gets
fucking,
the guy that can't talk very well gets like a sick coat when he comes back, which is pretty
it
cool.
does make me I do. That's one of the ones, and I think it happened a couple times in the game where the game made me feel like I made the wrong choice. Because I know I made the unpopular choice. Like I feel like
Actually,
in
you
the
didn't. They
I know
release.
I saw that. I saw that on
Yeah.
Twitter.
Oh no,
Like
I
they
saw it on
released it.
Instagram. Yeah.
But like I did see that and I was like, oh, that's surprising. I would have thought more people say Manfred.
Hmm.
But the game was totally like he was all like butthurt about it a little bit. And that
Yeah.
makes sense if he died.
To
But
be
it
fair,
just felt like the game
when
was like, man, you shouldn't have done that.
I mean when you save Manfred, he goes like you're talking to him. You're like, so how do you feel? He's like, honestly, I kind of regret it. Like
Really.
well, he's like, I regret. Like I have regrets about it, but I don't think I'd like trade having this little guy by me. But like I do have regrets that I'm not gonna be like a lich and I'm gonna die, and that's terrifying.
Okay.
So I think it's more of a like both ways. He's kind of like, well, shit, this kind of sucks.
Yeah. I did flashback with Balara. I had her throw that shit away.
Oh, really? I had to keep it.
Well, the way they presented it, it was like it was the fucking like nuclear codes.
Yeah.
Like they're like, if we save this, it might be used for horrible evils. I'm like, well, okay, we can just get rid of that, right? Like we don't really need that around. Like if someone came to me today, they're like, okay, like we can keep the nuclear codes, and we can all read a lot of cool books, or we can get rid of them and no one will commit genocide. I'd be like, okay, well,
Yep.
yep.
Well,
Okay.
you know.
Harding, strong A tier
Yeah,
for me.
I agree. I think she was great. I like her whole arc. Did you have her embrace the anger? I'm assuming you did. Or did you tell her to calm?
No, I told her calm.
Oh, really? did
I
anger.
wanted to. I tried to make all my decisions. Well, because goes back to my thing. I made all the decisions that I thought the characters would make,
Mm-hmm.
not what I wanted them to make.
I see,
Because I
yeah.
wanted them to make their own decisions. So I was like, I'll make them for you in alignment with your own views. And Harding is someone that I feel like would not want to embrace the anger.
Yeah.
So.
I did it because I wanted to see how my guy was kind of a hard ass, so I wanted to lean more into those options, I guess, for
Drag
that.
her down with you.
Yeah, drag her down with me. Also, the gear she gets is like great for bleeding. Like it does extra damage when enemies are bleeding, and I made everyone bleed. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. What a combination. Anyway, I romanced her. That's who I romanced.
I wish I romanced her.
I mean, I think from what I've read online, Emmerich has the best romance, surprisingly, like the most well written. But I think it's just he's the best written character.
Yeah.
But not Tosh. Harding's was good. Like I liked Harding's. It was just I like her as a character more than I like the romance for sure. I did see on that Dragon Age post that Nev was the #1 romance.
And I was like, God, you guys are just like.
Genuinely, I think it's because she's the most conventionally attractive character.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's because she's the one that looks like a skinny woman, and it's so lame because she's by far the least interesting character in this game. So
Yeah, I was surprised Balara. I thought
because
Balara would be
romance
first.
has-
To
you
be
have,
fair,
you have no you're lame. Yeah, I don't know.
I think Balara is probably the hottest character out of all of them.
Yeah,
Second to Lucanus, I think.
Emmerich's pretty hot too.
Emmerich's
be
hot.
honest, he's old, but
Emmerich
he's
looks
pretty-
like he looks like fucking the Adams Family guy.
Hot, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Lucanus.
Let's talk about hot.
Talk about hot. Definitely Lucanus. I was like, man, I might have to fuck Lucanus, bro.
Yeah,
He's pretty sexy.
he fucks Nev. They
I
date
know,
too.
they date, which is pretty fun. I
Yeah.
did like that. I liked when the characters were like interacting with each other. I would put him at a B tier.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think he's a solid B.
I think his companion quest drags him down for me. Also,
Yeah.
the weird payoff, and I think the poor handling of his, like you had mentioned before, his demon arc was.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't like the payoff of either the Crow's main quest or his companion quest, where it's like you still don't get to kill him or his cousin. The only option is either like let him
Yeah.
walk free or put him in jail. Like, he's just probably gonna
Oh, because
escape.
they gotta use them for the next game. That's
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. So F.
F, F, yeah. Who the heck is this? I didn't know they had these down here. Yeah. I liked that I could turn her into Batman. That was pretty cool. That was probably my favorite part. I know you didn't get there. To be fair, her final mission was pretty cool. It was like you get to see all these people in Docktown that are like getting their blood drawn out of them to fuel like some big ritual, and it's like it's pretty gruesome. Like I know there's a lot of talk about how this game has like no dark moments. I think it does have a lot of dark moments. Just the art style doesn't complement them very well.
Definitely.
But I thought it had a lot more than I was expecting based on what I saw online, and that was one of them where I was like, "Oof, that's brutal."
That sounds
Tosh.
cool. But slam. Oh, okay. You say what you're gonna say, and I'll say what I'm gonna say.
I think they're A tier.
I think they're S tier
Really?
because I think they're below Emmerich still. But Tosh was my favorite character.
Yeah.
I think their arc was just nice. It's something that you don't get to see very often in video games. It was unexpected because it was way more personal than the other ones to me. Like it was way more contained, right? Like it was really just this drama between them and their mom.
Yeah.
And like Tosh like coming to terms with their like identity. I was like, this is actually really cool and interesting and nice. And I chose the character option to make myself trans.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm gonna get more unique dialogue this way, and it will make my character more interesting.
That's where you
And
probably bonded with them more.
I got a lot more conversations with Tosh about
Yeah.
like identity and stuff like. And I was just like, this is cool. And also, I liked that they were just badass and they were just funny and like blunt. And I just liked them. Like I don't think they were the most well written, but I thought that they were the most entertaining character.
Yeah. I think
So-
I like started a romance. Well, I flirted with like every single character basically. And I think I started a romance with Tosh, and then like the next quest, it was like you have to either commit or not. And I was like, well, I'm gonna romance Harding, so I'm not gonna. I just want to see how far I could get with as many characters before I committed, basically. But so I started a romance with them, and I was like, nah. I think they like their quest kind of leans into the part, which I'm surprised that you like it as much as you did, because it's one of the ones where it's like, is this really as important as like the fucking gods we have going on, that like your mom doesn't like you being Ravani? And like I get this like the identity stuff, but even with that, it's like, you know, a lot of the other people are like, oh, I gotta like fucking kill my cousin. I gotta like stop this demon from killing off the last of these griffins that can help the Grey Wardens in the battle to come, and things like that. And it's like, this can wait like a week, can it?
Yeah, I think my problem wasn't like the reason that didn't bother me was because that opinion, like I was already just upset at the premise of it, right? Like the premise that we're really like being forced to do these quests. Like I said before, I thought the quests were interesting enough that I didn't need to be pushed in their direction. And this is one that I would have made time for, even if they were like, bro, everyone's dying out here. To be like, yeah, but I gotta go like have dinner with like Tasha's mom.
Yeah, I mean, I still would have done them all like I did.
Like,
but
I just liked it, and like I said, at that point my immersion was already broken, so I wasn't gonna hold it against that quest just because of my like overall feelings.
Yeah.
So
I did like the final mission though, when their mom gets fucking her neck snapped or something, whatever it was.
yeah, that was crazy. They get like, yeah, that was sick. The Dragon King,
Yeah.
stupid character, but cool scene.
Coolest name by far, the Demon of Varantium. That's an awesome name. I wish I could have had that.
The Demon of Varantium.
That's a fucking Lucanus's like
Yes,
nickname.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, way cool.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That demon.
Yeah, I liked Tosh. I would say S tier, but I understand high A if we want to keep Emmerich alone
Yeah.
in S.
I'll put them above Harden.
Thank you. I needed that win tonight. So, nope. Put him back.
What are you talking about?
Put him
I
back.
think he deserves B tier.
Put him back.
He has a cool pet. Asan's included.
Can we get a tile of Asan? Because he could be B tier.
Manfred was also S tier. Oh.
Manfred is also well, yeah, he's S tier.
Yeah. Well,
You know, he's
maybe not
voiced
for
by
you.
the guy from Critical Role.
Yeah, fucking Matt Mercer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's voiced. He just goes.
It's awesome.
Then at the end, he's like, "Help," or whatever. He says like 3 words at the end. They're like, "What the hell?"
Very nice. Are you ready for the game though? This is nothing like Dragon Age. I can promise that. Okay.
Yeah, it's Mass Effect. Oh my god. Oh, fucking squirrel stapler. What the fuck is this? Isn't this by the guy that does chop goblins?
A corpse and meet God. It might be.
It
very
is.
well might
I
be.
think we looked
Oh,
at
yeah.
this when we were looking at the chop goblin
Dude,
sword.
I couldn't help it though. I wanted to
Oh
pick it.
man.
I was like, I want to shoot some squirrels. I want to staple some squirrels. The thing is, hunt squirrels, staple them to a corpse, and meet God. So
Well, you know, after Dragon Age, it'll be nice to play a game with a bit of a higher budget.
yeah, I'm tired of this. Honestly, I bet this game has better writing than Dragon Age. So
I don't.
I
think
would
so.
argue Chop Goblins had better writing than Dragon Age.
I would not argue that.
I'm not even kidding.
You are no.
No,
I know you're doing a bit.
Because Chop Goblin, I'm not doing a bit because Chop Goblins was one guy and it was actually funny. And although it wasn't a big narrative, it was actually funny, and the stuff that was written there was funny. And Dragon Age just was actually bad
Okay,
writing.
so you can say that Chop Goblins is funnier than Dragon Age. You can't say it has better writing.
Yes, I can. I can say the quality of what was there. It was
In
better.
fucking Chop Goblins, you go through a city and you go through a portal and you're in fucking Dracula's lair, and then you go through another
and these
portal and you're
things
in
are
ancient
dope-ass
Greece.
songs. Yeah, and it's awesome. And the stuff that the goblins are doing and saying is funny, they came out of a box. They want cheese. Okay? That's something I can understand.
Cinema.
Also, once again, one person on their own, not being paid millions of dollars. Okay, I also just want to say this real quick. I know the writers of this game are not being paid a
I was
million.
gonna say they're probably
I know.
underpaid to hell.
I know writers are
They probably
underpaid,
got fucking minimum wage for Dragon Age.
which it would explain a lot. So, Chop Goblin's better writing than Dragon Age. Stand by that until the day I die. So,
And I'll stand against
There's
that.
those two. You've gotten in my head though. You're making me want to double back on my choice here because I did have a secondary pick.
Oh no, I'm down for squirrel staple.
Are you sure?
I'll staple some
I have
squirrels.
another one. I have another one. If you're
Save it for next week or the week after, I guess.
Okay. Okay.
I got some squirrels to staple.
It is. Yeah, staple them to a corpse.
We've had too many. We've had like what, 1, 2, 3 games, four games in a row that aren't some weird kind of horror-esque game.
Exactly. We've played too many since Juice Galaxy. They've been real games, and I just want to double back on.
Yeah.
So, Squirrel
will-
Stapler is. I think it's really going to get us in the holiday spirit.
Yeah. It's a good Christmas game.
Okay, this has been Game Serial, where once every couple weeks we review a game that costs more or less a box of cereal.
Yeah, a little bit more
sometimes
this
more.
last week. Just a little bit more.
But just a little bit more. But you know what? We do what we want, and we review what we want, and fuck anyone who tells us otherwise. We hope you enjoyed this. I would say don't buy this game if you like good video games. Wyatt says otherwise. He thinks you should buy this game.
I would say if you're remotely interested in the lore of Dragon Age, or if any of this gameplay looks a bit fun, and you just want to play a nice long little action RPG, then pick this up. Maybe when it's on sale. If it's $70 is a lot, especially if you're not into it. But I think it's already on sale on PlayStation. I think it's like 30% off right now. So I mean, I'd pick it up for like $40-$50.
I would pitch to you, friendly listener, maybe go pick up Dragon Age Inquisition, because that's definitely gonna be cheaper than this game, and play that.
Yep.
And then, because I do think that Wyatt got a lot more out of this game because he knew what was going on.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think go get Inquisition, and if you enjoy that, buy this game. If you don't buy this game.
Or watch like a little lore video even on YouTube. See if you like the first game or something.
That would be a lot faster than playing another 50-hour game.
Yeah.
So time is of the essence. If you're dying of cancer, probably do that instead.
Yeah.
So.
If you're dying of cancer, you should probably like spend time with your family instead of find some
No,
some
they don't
game to
wanna
play.
see you. They don't want to be around.
Should probably
you.
like go feel fulfilled in your life.
No, no, no. That's boring. You should play video games.
Yes.
But I will say, huge L if you're dying of cancer and this is the last game you play.
Yeah, I mean, I'd even agree with that. Go play like, even if you're gonna play a BioWare game, play like Mass Effect or something.
Yeah, hit the Mass Effect trilogy.
Go play
Anything.
like fucking Red Dead Redemption 2 or something. Maybe that might be a bit dark if you're dying of a sickness to play Red Dead 2.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, I would say spend your last days playing Thronefall.
Yes, go spend your last days playing Juice Galaxy. Go take some
Honestly,
hallucinogens
though-
and go fucking lose your mind and die. You piece of shit. All right.
Okay, we've gone astray.
All right.
We love you. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Good night.
Godspeed.